the fuck out of your skin, or like, and you don't want to use it like every day. I don't recommend retinol every day, especially if you have sensitive skin. Okay. On my legs because I have keratosis. You know what? Yes, actually, the apricot scrub is great on your body. Like, absolutely use that on your body. It's great. I started using the I'm gonna actually turn on online mode for anybody that wants to join again, because I liked getting the rewards. So for anyone that wants to join, if you just want to like hang out and do some squad tasks, feel free. Everyone is welcome to join. I'm gonna leave this up for just a minute, but I am gonna be working on the main story today. So for anyone that is, what the fuck was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought. Never mind. I have a million Sephora tabs open. Oh my god. Okay. We are closing all of these Sephora tabs. Raise your hands up to the sky. Also, for those of y'all that were patiently waiting for me to play Xenoblade while we were talking about everything, y'all are wonderful. Thank you for sitting there listening to me talk about all the things. I have KP on my arms, Pidge, and the only thing that helps is the Scrub of Your Life products from Soap and Glory. Yes. Oh, that's another thing too. I was just gonna mention, I started using this one's pricey as well, but I actually really, it makes my skin so soft. Hang on, where is it? Back to Sephora. I even like closed all the tabs. What is it? I use the where is it? Where did I? Here it is. Oh my god. Like, Sephora is broken, man. This website is not working. I started using the drum roll. The Way St. Bart's Cleansing Scalp and Body Sugar Scrub. I have not used it on my scalp. I've only used it on my body. Oh my god. It makes my skin so soft. It makes my skin so soft. I don't understand. If you combine that with the Naturium, this is a cheaper product than what I've been linking. But if you combine it with the Naturium, the Glow Getter, like whipped body butter, your skin will feel like baby skin. Like I did that today, and oh my god, like my skin is so, I get compliments all the time about my skin being very soft. Good combo. Good combo. Speaking of sun cream, it is wild to me with how seemingly popular skincare is nowadays, how many people still just ignore sunscreen. Same. You don't need, like, honestly, for most people who don't have like skin concerns, like the only thing that you really need is a very good cleanser, a good moisturizer, and SPF. Like, you don't really need like a ton. I think that a lot of influencers and stuff make skincare completely like inaccessible because because they have these like 10-step routines, and it's just like, you don't need all of that. You literally do not. Okay. What were we doing? You know what? We were trying to get our Skell to fly. That's what we were doing. Okay. That is what we were doing. We will be flying on this day. How to wash my face without getting water literally everywhere in the counter. Valid. I don't really have any tips for that. I do use disposable, like, I use disposable like face towels that are biodegradable, which are great. But what I do after I'm done with all of my skincare stuff, like at nights, is I just use that to wipe up all of the water and nonsense around the sink, and that helps. But I mean, you can do the same thing with like a normal towel too. Oh great, a level fucking 40.
Incoming enemies.
Oh my god. Wait, okay,
More
never mind.
enemies.
That's... What is happening? What's attacking me? Where did you... Oh.
Attack at range. Follow my lead. So what if you stagger me?
Oh, Jesus. Wait, where is all of my team?
Fire.
Oh no, I think I took everybody out for the quest and I didn't put them back in. Oh, this is bad.
Yes. Now melee attack.
Get out, get out, get out, get out. Just get out. Just get out.
To the ground.
Just get out.
Assault hammer. Down you go. Present fire. Flame grenade. Power dodge.
I made a terrible mistake here.
Rising blade. I got a little reckless. Please, heal me.
Girl, there's no one here.
Rising, back off. Use melee attack.
I knew that was gonna happen. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We just need to put people in our team because... Wait! What's going on? Okay, you gotta do it so... Why? What's happening? What did I do? No, I don't know what happened either, but I am terrified because that's... Can I even do anything? I'm not sure. I think it's maybe the quest. Now, why the fuck is that walking up to me like that? Hi, Statman! I'm doing the flight module quest and it's solo. Okay. That makes sense. It sucks, though. I'm scared. Excuse me, pardon me.
Leave us alone.
Isn't the sound? I was tiptoeing.
Flame grenade.
Everyone deserves a chance to fly.
We should be doing better.
Yes, we should be, but it's fine. We have an excuse at least. We're by ourselves.
Rising blade. Rising blade. Rising blade. Hey.
I don't know how this is gonna go for me with having nobody here. I mean, how do people do this by themselves? Do you have to be like over leveled? Get an upgraded coil from OC serves and Sylvalum. Wait. I'm not in Sylvalum right now, right? What the hell? What am I doing? Yeah, because I have some from Oblivia. Yeah. I am confused. I'm confused by this. Maybe it's that our level. Okay. Yeah, because... Well, that's fucking scary. There's some... Let's go to... I guess let's go to Sylvalum then. I was gonna say, how come it's not showing up on the map? Like, how is... That's weird. Okay, southern tip. So... Like here, probably? I don't have anything discovered there. I should probably go discover stuff there.
Oh, great.
Hi, Krez! I can buy it with tickets? Can I? I mean, I guess this works, though. If I guess I can save my tickets for other stuff. Wait, I spent like all my tickets, I think. Showing enemy that drop needed material, but it does not help that it just chooses the closest one. That makes sense, because now it shrunk my map, and I'm like, what the? It's only 10 tickets? I mean, I guess this, honestly, it's okay. Like, now that I'm, like, here, I guess it's fine. We'll see. Plus, I get to hear the music. Never mind. I don't get to hear the music, apparently. Well, that's some bullshit. Listing ads, no worries. Xenoblade Chronicles. What? The game heard you and said nope. It's kind of rude. This was just making, I don't know, I was just thinking about this, but I'm so excited to play Xenosaga, y'all. I cannot wait to play Xenosaga.
Incoming enemies. Attack away. Follow my lead. Dodge this. Dodge this.
Very, very excited for Xenosaga? Xenogears. Sorry. I mean, I am going to play Xenogears, but no, the next game I'm going to play is Xenogears, not Xenosaga. I still read the FM things like fucking sight. Fucking sight. I mean, that can be accurate with some of them because some of them are in like weird, really weird spots and very annoying to get to. So yeah, fucking spots.
Close the gap. Special delivery.
Special delivery.
Dodge this. Dodge this. Go me. Close the gap.
Go me.
Special delivery. Dodge this. Dodge this. Hold still. Right now, turn.
Man, I need to upload my part 2 of my playthrough. I didn't upload it this week yet, but I need to upload that on YouTube. All right. virtual tourism specialist. Oh, hello, sorry. Didn't mean to bother you. Sorry about that. I'm confused because it says that there's something here, but I don't see anything here. Is it lying to me? What the fuck?
Attack at range. Follow my lead. Just hit.
Monolith will create now that they have the Switch 2 hardware. I'm not ready either. I'm so excited. Did y'all see that people are already like leaking Switch 3 stuff? Like, what is going on? What?
Moving on the next one. Just hit. Go. Now close the gap.
Oh, there's an OC surf flying above. Oh, okay.
Soldier fire. Just hit. Just hit.
Have they said anything else about pre-orders? No, there has not been an update. Just that updates have been, or updates?
Moving on the next one.
Pre-orders have been pushed back in the US and Canada.
Just hit. Go me. Now close the gap.
Fight like true.
Take this.
We might get an update at some point though, because
Don't miss.
the orange piece of shit put a 90-day pause on the tariffs, so I don't know if like we'll get an update soonish or what. Can I do that? Can I fight a level 44?
Right. Just hit. Just hit. Go me. Now close the gap. Go
Nope.
to the ground.
Get the fuck out.
Be doing better. Feel me.
Bye.
Oh,
Seemingly some people are once again hoping for Nintendo's downfall. Well, excited for their $200 GTA 6. Of course they are. Of course they are. So annoying. Okay, maybe I will buy it with tickets. How many did I need? Oh, just one. Okay. All right. Wait, hold on. Mission. Sweet. Day one of the Switch 1 reveal, we had rumors of a mini and XL models, so I'm not surprised people are already discussing a Switch 3. A mini and an XL model. That's interesting. Tariffs are apparently not canceled. They're just at 10% tax import, so I'm assuming the delay sticks. Wait, what? Wait, so he didn't put a 90-day pause? Like, I knew they weren't canceled, but it was just a 90-day pause. He's not gonna fucking cancel the tariffs.
The hell did you do, Lynn?
I don't know. Just give me a second.
Let her cook.
Oh, I had the amp furnace circuit in backwards.
Oh.
I am so sorry. I can't believe I'd do something that dumb in the final check.
No, Lynn!
Oh, you're back. I take it you managed to gather the materials? As you can see, the test flight's gonna need to be postponed. Maybe canceled entirely. Sorry for the bad news after all your hard work.
No, wait! I'll handle the repairs and resolve the final issues myself. Commander, please. I need this to work. I need to make it happen. It's the last homework assignment I'll ever have.
What?
Please, sir, let me complete it.
Wait, now I'm getting emotional.
I understand where you're coming from, Lynn. But it's not my call. That last slip-up has the Sakuraba guys spooked. The higher-ups aren't gonna be happy unless this thing can be mass-produced.
But all my work...
The apple really doesn't fall far from the tree. Don't worry about it, Fandom. I'll convince my people. I may just be a humble engineer, but I've given my life to Sakuraba. Let an old man cash in some of his favors.
Thank you, Isobe.
Well, that's one problem down. But this death trap still needs a pilot. After that little display before, I doubt anyone will be nuts enough to volunteer.
I volunteer as tribute.
You'd have to be real crazy.
That would be me.
Thank you so much. I swear I'll make this thing work.
Now that that's settled, when can you have this bucket of bolts fixed?
I'll have it ready by tomorrow.
Alright, you've got till morning. Past that, I'll have to call it off for now. The higher-ups will want to take another long look and decide if this is still where they want to spend their money.
Understood. I won't let everyone's hard work go to waste. And I won't let down my brave test pilot either. I swear.
I love Lim. I know she makes a bunch of jokes about eating Tatsu, but I do love her. That's my daughter.
It's done. I did it! I swear it's totally safe and secure this time, Commander. We dreamed of a Skell that can fly through the air, and now
Aww.
it's finally here.
Looks that way to me. And trust me, I looked close. This thing should work. It better work. What do you say? Ready to put your life in the hands of this thing?
Affirm.
That's the spirit. Should be a hell of a view from up there. Assuming you get up there.
It'll fly, jeez. Do you trust me on this or not?
You're already dead, so it's fine.
Oh,
Stop.
come on. You're gonna go on a perfect test flight and show all these naysayers what's up.
Hell yeah.
Alright, let's get this party started. Fly her to the specified point to start. It's a spot we haven't been able to reach before now.
The perfect landing point for our test flight.
I thought so. We'll be monitoring your progress from here. Good luck.
Oh, and whatever you do, don't damage the Skell.
I can't make any promises
I
about
think
that.
what you meant to say was come home safe.
She's just 13. She's just a baby. Wish she would have kept going. You'd have to be real crazy, an absolute loon, have nothing going good going for just a complete psycho. We do everything for adopted, no pot eating daughter. I trust her with my life. Exactly. That stuff calls for now. I'm gonna shove things in my mouth for a bit. No worries, Jesse. Enjoy. Honestly, the reporting about it has been so weird. Let me double check. Apparently the initial news was misinfo. Wait, what? News all over the place? I feel like he's just manipulating the market for stock buys. No, you're absolutely correct. He is absolutely manipulating the market for his friends. That as well. That is definitely a thing that he's doing. Because once his friends were like, cut the cameras dead ass because the stock market was fucking crashing, then that's when he was like, just kidding, we're gonna put a 90-day pause on the tariffs. But honestly, who the fuck knows what's going on anymore with this shit? What was I looking at? Oh wait. I know. Lau, how could you? You leave this little girl alone. You leave this little girl alone, Lau. Don't take your doomed Yowie out on the 13-year-old. Wait, I thought I was still jumping. Wait. The delayed reaction, I thought I was jumping. Holy shit. Oh my god, this is so cool. We're flying. Whee! How do I go up? ZR?
Leave us alone.
Fuck. I was listening to the music and vibing. Oh my god, this is so cool. I can't believe this is a thing. You can't have a rainbow without ride, baby. You're supposed to walk out the big hangar door and take off and take in the view. I did it wrong. No. Hi, Mira. Hello, Pipsquirt. About to get ready for bed. Wanted to pop in and say hi. I love you too, Pipsquirt. I hope you had a good stream. We fly now. We fly now. Real high jump. I know. That's so funny. It was like delayed. I was like, oh my god. This is so fucking cool. Oh my god, I'm dead. How do I... Wait, how do I descend? Oh, okay. I feel like crying. I don't know why I feel like crying, but I feel like crying. I can't even see things that well because it's raining, but it's still really pretty. The lyrics are so pretty. I lost my shit because I typed /ban for a second. Oh no, Mira's about to get banned. What are you, a Pisces? No, it's probably her Sagittarius moon coming out, to be honest. Oh, it's clearing up! There's a rainbow! I'm like tearing up. I'm being so dramatic right now, but this is so cool. Look at the rainbow! Do we have, I can't remember, does anyone know if we have a photo mode? Photo mode, right? It's just a screenshot. When I could fly over the map in Pokemon Omega and Ruby, I couldn't see things because I burst into tears. Stop. This part of the song I heard. Oh, it's this. May you link a live version of the song? Absolutely. Oh my god. Can we get a permit, please? No, it's raining again. Fuck this shit. This is so cool. Oh, we're diving, or like we're skydiving. Whee! How is this, seriously, how is this game real? Like, I'm actually, like, I'm gasping. Because, like, there's no way this is possible. Like, are there even any barriers any fucking where? The fact that you can just fly around all over the goddamn map and, like, there's no loading times, you can see, like, super far. Like, what in the fuck is this game? Like, this just does not seem real to me. Baby game's good. Monolith Magic, I literally don't think that I've ever played a game like this before. Like, I don't think I've ever played a game where it just feels open. And, like, there's no loading times. You can literally go wherever you want. No loading times. Like, how is this fucking doable on the goddamn Nintendo Switch? Zoom out with left trigger plus right stick, left trigger and right stick. What? I'm in fucking shock. I'm in fucking shock. There's no way. You mentioned the zoom out many streams ago. How am I gonna remember that? I know, I do think that, like, whatever Monolith is gonna work on the Switch 2, it's gonna pop the fuck off. Like, this is unreal to me. Honestly, I wish I could talk to somebody at Monolith and be like, what are y'all doing over there? What are y'all doing over there? You need to play this game. Ah! Now I'm really feeling it. Please. Went to Monolith South for help for Breath of the Wild? Yes. Yeah. Like, honestly, the fact that, I mean, well, it's like now I understand why so many Pokemon fans really want Monolith to work on something Pokemon related. Because can you imagine like a Pokemon game where you could do this? Like you could do this on a, like flying around on your flying Pokemon like this? Could you imagine? Like it just feels like there's no limitations. I'm feeling full of beans. Good night, Mira. Have a good one. Making those two switch words. I'm just flying around. Like, are we even gonna do the quests today? Look at the clouds! Look at the clouds! Look at everything! What the fuck? I'm not even kidding. I've played so many video games, y'all, and I've never played a game like this before in my life. Like, this is really special. Like, I mean, a video game and that it feels like, it literally feels so limitless. And where, like, you're not, like, limitless isn't that, like, you're not being held back by load times. You can see, like, the draw distance is nuts. Like, you can just see so far. Like, obviously not right now because there's fog, but, like, I've never played a game like this. Like, I know that I'm biased too because I love Xenoblade, but like, I'm dead ass serious. Like, this is really special. I know, Zio's like getting pissed. She's just like, open the fucking door, bitch. I don't give a shit if you're flying. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Lynn, whose entire career is staked on your return. Lynn's just like, oh, she's fucking dead. I killed her. And they got a lot of, yes, yeah, they focus on hiring women, femme people over at Monolith. While all of the game industry, like it's fucking falling apart and people were doing layoffs, Monolith gave everybody raises. This is the game now. I don't know if I can mentally handle that. Free editions Monolith are really good. Yes, they are. I don't give a fuck about the skill. So remember how we started as these tiny human ants compared to this world? The monster is such an amazing game. It is. I was like, these make me so happy that the Xeno series is more accessible. Same. Like, this is another thing that's so cool too, because yeah, you can go into the city after just flying the fuck around and be like, I'm gonna go turn in a quest and like not have to load the fucking city. This is, what the hell? I can't. There's no, like, this doesn't feel real to me. It just doesn't. Sorry, I'm like gushing about it, but like this is literally the coolest thing. Like, this is such a feat, especially since this was on the Wii U first. How the hell did they do that? That's so pretty. That's so pretty. Low times for travel would probably be faster on. Yes. Seeking a senior game designer. Oh. I was wrong if that also means that Monolith also gives gay couples the same benefits as everyone in Japan, where that is sadly not typical. No, it's not. No, they really should. We should get like an update for the Switch too. Hold on, does anyone know? Oh wait, can somebody, hold on, where was the song? Andy! Andy, thank you so much for gifting subs. How are you? It's good to see you. How are you doing? Hi, Lori. I did unlock flying. I've literally been flying the entire time. I gotta turn this quest in, but like, I've just been flying. I'm obsessed. Just dropping hype since you just rolled credits on Cino. Oh, hell yeah. Congrats. Did you love it? Did you play the original one? I'm literally losing my mind. I can't believe this is real. This does not feel real. In that 60 FPS mode, oh, if it's real, I'll be over the moon. Yes. 10 years ago, how the Wii U could do this. I literally just mentioned that too. I was just like, how the hell did the Wii U do this? Let me tell you some of the greatest pieces of art in the history of RPGs. Oh, it's true. It's true. 2 and 3, I'm just going to play on the Switch too. Same. I did not know that you were a Xenoblade fan, Andy. That makes me so happy. Wait, I want to do the... Yes, this is so cool! Like, that's another thing that's like blowing my mind too, is that you can... Like, you can land, and then you could just... Wait, I can't remember how to do it. No! Sorry, I'm trying to like remember how to do everything. And then you can just start flying, and it's... Ah! I can't. This game is amazing. I'm obsessed. I work on games I don't want to play so I can love the games I love. Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, speaking of game devs, because we were talking about game devs yesterday, because there's like a lot of game devs in this community. Yeah, Andy's a game dev too. My Wii was transformed into... Oh wait, I need to fly over Sylvalum. I haven't flied over Sylvalum yet. Oh my god, I'm excited. I want these mechs in Mecha Break. That would be so cool. Can you rush through the chapter without missing any missions along the way, chat? I think somebody answered that. Yes, like you can go back and do missions. Oh, hell no. Those are level 60. Oh, this is really pretty. Thought about getting this game. You convinced me, Fritaku. I hope you love it. Xenoblade is literally like top 2 favorite game series of all time. Music reset when you fly. Oh yeah, it does. You can change the music to Wii U version of the song in the settings. Can you? I love Sylvalum. This is my favorite area. It's my favorite song in the game. The Sylvalum Night is my favorite in the game. But now I think this song is like is up there for me. I love this song. Oh my god. Like, it also just feels very hopeful. Considering like the theme of the game and like what everyone's going through and whatnot, it just like this just feels really, really hopeful. We don't get much hope in most games, especially with these environments. Yes. Use the lyricless version of the song. I like the lyrics though, it's so pretty. It's so nice. Ooh, I've never been over here. Wait, yes I have. I feel like I'm cheating now though, because there's certain areas where I'm definitely not supposed to like be in yet. Well, actually no, I feel like that's the entire game, because like you run around in areas that are your level, but then all of a sudden you run into like a level 60 when you're like level 30. So this is so cool. I've said that like a million times. I'm just obsessed. If they continue the Xenoblade series now after the Claw Saga, like they said, I do hope they maybe bring back controllable mechs in the future entry. Yes! Yes, yes. I really, really hope. I mean, that's like one of the reasons why I love the Xenoblade series too, is the mechs. So I do think it'd be really cool if they brought this this back to like the main line of games. Oh fuck, oh fuck. Nope. Oh, I haven't been here. Did the music change? Oh, that's probably not good. Why am I going on the volcano? Oh, okay, we can't. I found a barrier! I found a barrier! We can't go in the volcano. I did it, y'all. Hi, Dale. Giving his sad self a kissy. We went from alley-oop to over the rainbow. Alley-oop. Monolith, like, no, you can't throw yourself into an active volcano. Why not? I wanted to cook myself. How dare. You're not the boss of me, Monolith. We want to test our limits, exactly. Let her cook.
Leave us alone.
Oh. Oops. I do love that she says leave us alone when we're still the only ones in the party. It's really funny to me. Don't give Lynn ideas. I still laugh every time in an online lobby and I see someone get the achievement for wrecking their skull in Oblivia. That's an achievement? Wait, I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to wreck my skull. Oh my god, this sky is so pretty. Like, it looks like a real sky! Like, I don't know, obviously there's more, I don't know, there's other games that are hyper realistic, but there's just something about the way like the art is in this game that's just, it just feels more like life. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like I said that in a weird way, but she got her flight modules to have a go everywhere. I spec the drive. Yes. I love it. But you know what? I found out that we can't cook ourselves in the volcano, Draco. It's really sad. I really wanted to put myself in the volcano, but we can't do that. I thought that would be kind of fun, just to see what would happen. Hi, L0. This was a Wii... Right! This was a Wii U game. They did sorcery on the Wii U to make this look good. Yes. I was just mentioning that too. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I don't know how this was something that was even possible at the time. Something really funny about Lynn giving you this model and being like, don't wreck the skull, and then you tried to throw yourself in a volcano with it. I'm sorry, Lynn, but I've been waiting for this. Like, look at the water! The water is so watering! Whee! Oh my god. Okay, if I do that too much, I might get motion sick. It's so pretty. How? I just... Xenoblade X was ahead of its time and didn't really get its proper dues on the Wii U. Glad it's getting more appreciation on the Switch. I know, me too! Me too! Can you jump out of the skull? That's a really good question. No, it seems like you have to land. Whoa. Oh man, those clouds. It was nominated for Game of the Year back... Was it nominated for Game of the Year? What won in 2015? I don't remember. Cool. Yeah, the lighting is really good in this game too. Like, it's just so, like, dynamic. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but, like, it's just not, like, the same. It has not been the same since I've been in the Skull flying around. Witcher 3 DLC 1? Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Wii U was obviously a rough time for any games that came out on there. Because, like, you know, I mean, I'm biased, but I really loved the Wii U. I liked it. I thought it was great, but I do recognize that not a lot of people felt the same. I hope we're all right. I should probably turn the quest in, y'all. I should probably stop flying around like this and turn the quest in. But man, this is addicting. Come on, Nintendo, release a vinyl! Or at least release the soundtrack, like, on CD or something. I don't know. Release it somewhere, please, I'm begging. Do not gatekeep Hiroyuki Sawano from us. I bought a Wii U just for this, and Twilight Princess, which were sadly basically the only games on the system I could find that interest me. Oh, you should take a break after trying the quest at close to 3-hour mark. Whoa, wait, what is this thing? It's like glistening. What the heck? I haven't seen this yet. This is really interesting. I loved my Wii U and the memories for example, playing this game for so many hours will forever be magical memories. Oh, I love that. Why does it feel like it's pulsating a bit? Yeah, it looks interesting. I don't know what that is. Wait, where am I? Okay, let's look at the map. Let's go turn the quest in, y'all. Wait, oh my god. I'm just obsessed. This is... What if we just fly there? We're gonna fly there. You can get inside of it? Oh. Now I kind of want to get inside. Whoa, it changed colors. What? I tried to fly through it. No, that's not gonna work. How do we get inside of the weird ball thing? You gonna auto run it? You can auto run it with R and B? Well, wait, can we auto run it going faster? This is like when you're on the highway and you're doing like, what's it called? The highway mode. I don't forget what the name it is. Where the car is auto driving itself and you're like, look at me, I'm not driving my car. Hi Shadow, thank you so much for the raid. Hi, welcome in raiders. My name is Laura Prince, she, her. I'm a full-time creator here on Twitch and also on YouTube. And we just got our flying license for our Skell, so we're flying around over the rainbow. Glorious, what is she saying? Glorious sights? You can go faster mode? How do you do that? I have fuel? Oh. I have to get gas? I just looked over to the right and I saw that I have a gas thing that's going down. What do you mean, of course? I don't have to. I didn't know that I would have to have gas to fly this. That's not good. Okay, alright. How do I make it go faster? It's Van Ham's Skell, so it's his gas fuel. Okay, I have fuel, maybe not for long. You're not drinking in Skell, drinking? No, I'm not flying and drinking, no. I'm not. Welcome, Raiders. How was your stream, Shadow? Cruise control. There we go. Going the speed limit. The snail face is so funny. You're one of the people who looks like they're having fun playing. Very different from rival streams. Wait, really? I know a bunch of people who... Well, actually... I'm trying to think of any of my Xenobladers who have been... Sarah Key. I know she loves Xenoblade, and I think she's having the time of her life playing Xenoblade X. But yeah, I feel like it's, you know, it depends on the person, for sure. But I love this game. Like, I'm a big fan. I love it. RB and Sprint? It's not working. It's fine, I guess it's... It is very... It's very slow. It actually does look really funny. I kind of love it. I've been watching her play Xenoblade X too. Yeah, I know her and I are supposed to do some co-op sometime. I don't know when. Sprint first and then RB. Okay, let me see. Sprint first. Cruise control! I'm passing this. I'm passing the turn-in. We're so back. Okay, we're turning. Wait, stop. How do I turn it off? Stop. Hello? Okay. My car was going out of control. Okay, we're zoomed out way too far. I forgot how to zoom in. Never mind, I figured it out. Stepped away for work meeting. I see you're still... Krez, I was flying around over the rainbow.
Hey.
Sorry, I touched the thing. My bad. Damn. No. Oh no. I'm very far from where I'm supposed to be. Well, here we go again. What do you mean get wrecked? Damn, fuck you too. At least I think my fuel reset, right? Or no, did I use more fuel? I can't make it go faster. Oh, there it goes, okay. Whee! Over the rainbow again. That's it, my dream is over. Hoping they open a Costco in New LA for cheaper.
I've got a bad feeling.
Shit! I need to go higher or something. Leave me alone. I'm trying to get to my quest. You can still fast travel to somewhere in Primordia. Yeah. But it's so fun just flying.
I've got a bad feeling.
Jesus. I keep getting attacked by stuff. First flight in your skull is such a sick moment in this game. It is so cool. Like I'm it's not even like a big, because I have a lot of memories of my first playthrough of certain games where moments just like stick with you. Like, no spoilers, but there are parts from the first Xenoblade, the second Xenoblade, and the third Xenoblade especially, where those will last forever. Like, there are just moments that like last. But they were like big story beats. But this isn't even like a big story beat, and I feel like this is definitely gonna be one of those gaming memories that I'm gonna like, it's a core memory, basically, where like this is the coolest thing ever. So cool. This is how I play Skyrim. Once I get a horse, I just ride around and sightsee and tell the Stormcloaks to fuck off. I'm picking flowers and riding my horsey. I love it. I love how we're already at the right spot like 3 times and every time we went. But what is that? A true Xenoblade X moment. Yep. Sarah K experienced a Chapter 8 attack on NLA moment and loved it from what I saw. I love Sarah. I love Sarah so much. Oh yeah, getting your horse in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, so cool. Checked Final Fantasy 16 mods out of curiosity because you mentioned it earlier, and someone did a Clive and Jill outfit swap. God bless Waters! No way! Perfect. What is this? Okay, bad weather. Is it just because I'm like flying around in bad weather? What is the name of this song? Does anyone know? I want to look up the lyrics while we're flying. Are we gonna get struck by lightning? Oh no, I hope not. Ho 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 ho. Why can't more games have mechs? They're so fucking cool. Has anyone seen Evangelion? I'm like jumping topics, but has anyone seen Evangelion? I want to watch it so bad just because of the, excuse me, the mechs. I haven't been paying much attention to the lyrics except the chorus. I'm not sure. Yeah, are they spoilery? It doesn't... It seems like it's just mostly talking about, like, flying, but I could be wrong. Need to rewatch. It's pretty much all about the flying experience. Okay, hang on. Oh, it's called Don't Worry. It's called Don't Worry. Wait, these lyrics are gonna make me cry. So, don't worry about the future, it's all right, because a better picture we can't find, just like our dreams, they've got to be free. So anyway, let's move on. You said you'd love me many days ago. Don't worry about those things. It's not your fault. Just come today at break of day. Oh, we've got things to lose. All over the world, we see all the high walls you cannot change, but we've got to try first. Miles and miles fly across our sky. Tonight is the time. Over the rainbow, there's a glorious sight. It's lighting our dreams, and I hope we're all right. We're all the same, even from another world. We don't belong here anymore. Look over there. It's gold mine. We can be as fellows. It's not a place to follow. Don't take their sorrow. Praying for tomorrow. I love these lyrics. I love these lyrics. I think I was too young to... Oh, the thematic bits? Yeah, I've definitely heard that there are some parts of Evangelion that are definitely question mark. But I know that it's inspired a lot of like mecha stuff. Oh, that's a level 90. Oh no. Are you serious? Why are you over here? I need to turn my quest in. Okay. We're fine. This is fine. It's the Tears of the Kingdom dragon. We did it. Can you place probes?
I gotta say,
I don't know.
fun. How did it feel?
Any problems? Tell me everything down to the tiniest detail. I need it all.
Oh, I will tell you. It was amazing. Tell them you flew with no problem. Say it's a bit difficult to control.
I felt like I was flying myself, and that's just from watching down here. You could go anywhere with that skill.
Well, in any
It's true. The only place you can't go is inside a volcano.
we'll call this a success.
Just make sure to stay focused, okay? I know you'll make it home without a scratch.
Exactly, Aiden. Handshake. Right. Like, that's the only problem. We cannot go into the volcano. And personally, I think that's ridiculous. I want to go inside the volcano. All right, back to New LA. I know you'll make it home without a scratch. Level 90 enemy hovering above us. The Evangelion experience's original anime and movies, well, that will have shaped my life in ways I was not ready for. And then came the imagining with Utada songs in it, and I went, guess I'll just do it again for myself. Okay, we're gonna do the cool thing. Here we go. Whee! just noticed that there's like little things flying around too. Oh, excuse me. Oh wait, okay, crap, I can't.
Am I right?
Damn, that was really fun. Like 10/10 experience. No other video game has given me the feels like that in terms of like exploration.
That was one hell of a maiden flight. She passed the test. We'll get rolling on mass production ASAP.
Yes!
Yes!
This makes everything worth it.
Lynn, I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do
I
it.
put poor Doug through hell and wound up wasting some rare materials. But I had to do this. I had to make my dream a reality.
Ask Lynn why this was so important to her. Ask Lynn how many failures she's... That's terrible.
You know, before they died, my parents began
Oh,
this
no.
as an independent research project. But they passed away before they could finish the design. That's how the flight pack got started. A device that can let any Skell fly still feels like science fiction. I can't imagine what possessed them to even attempt such a thing. But I knew I had to finish what they started.
Wait.
I felt like I'd never be a worthy engineer if I didn't. So, I called it my last homework assignment.
Those are some big shoes to fill. You can rest assured that your folks would be proud as hell.
Wait,
You know that, right? You did good, kid. You too. Thanks for all your support.
Promise that you use the Skell flight module to protect everyone in New LA. Say that Skell pilots will likely need advanced technical training. Enthuse.
Damn straight. Once we get our people trained up on these, those ganglion are history. All right, enough jibber jabber. It's time to get flying. With eyes in the sky, we'll track down that damn Lifehold core in no time.
Oh man, that actually gave me so many, like, that gave me so many emotions. I was like tearing up because that was so sweet. She was, oh, that's why it was so important to her. Looks like the flight module power is finally off the ground. I owe you one, which is exactly why I took the liberty of modifying your skells with the new flight tech. This project's been a personal dream of mine, so it's really the least I could do. All of our skells can fly. And can I put everybody back in my party now? Thank you. Thank you. Irina, and then we had, I think we had Gwen, right? No, we had Murderous. Okay. Truly one of those top 10 gaming moments of all time. Yes, that's, honestly, I do think this is going to be a lasting, like, core memory for gaming for me. Just that experience. Like, that was incredible. But what's really funny is me not realizing that I wasn't jumping anymore, like, at the beginning. I thought I was still jumping. That was really funny. We clearly had Bose. Stop! Noticing things in the sky now, because you're also in the sky, yes. Wait, where did I messed up. I left my... Where's my skull? Oh yeah, I should take a break, shouldn't I? It's been almost 3 hours. Why do the Xenoblade video games do this to me? Oh, you have to reassign your skull. Okay, I see. We shall then. We shall do that really quick. But when will we add Bozo to the party? I mean Bozo. Yes. Yes, that's what we started calling him, is Bozo. Honestly, I do not like that guy. Like, I cannot stand him. Like, I really want to do all of the affinity quests, but I don't want to do his. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't want to do his. I don't like him. All right. Well, it looks like, yeah, it was just me, I guess, that that was missing my skull. Everybody else still has theirs, so that works. I just got Clodsire X in Pokemon TCG Pocket. Oh, is that like a rare one? All right, what's the next one that we need? Survey 15% of Sylveon, which I'm pretty sure that I have. Complete Manhunt Affinity Mission. Complete Prospective Partners Affinity. Okay, so I have to do 2 Affinity missions before I can continue. And I don't... Am I 38? No, so I have to level 2. So that's fine. All right, so before we continue, because I have to do these Affinity missions now, let's take a break. Wait, what chapter am I on? I'm still on 9. Let's take a break. We're gonna take a quick 5. Feel free to get up, stretch, use the restroom, whatever you need to do. Take some time for yourself. And we'll be back in just a short bit after a 5-minute break. And we will continue. I'm excited now that we can play. Ah! I can't believe it. I'm like, I'm excited. Oh wait, you know what? I should give Hope a skull too. I just realized I didn't give Hope a skull, but we'll do that when we get back. Okay, be right back. And then he will not be mad at me anymore, because I think he was a little mad at me. He was like, why would you not share your banana with me? Oh, this might be a problem. Zaya was not here, so she will be at the door soon to yell at me to let her in. Thank you. I missed my matcha from this morning. It was so good. 10-10 matcha. Excuse me. We starting chapter 10? No, we're not. Because I have to do 2 affinity missions. I think I have 15% of Sylveon surveyed, but I need to do those affinity missions before I can do chapter 10. So we will do that. Switch Rex. They were in JRPGs as well as indie games, Sonic, Metroid, Kirby, DK. I hope that you enjoy Sonic. I love Sonic very much. What? Who's calling me? Hang on a second, y'all. Automatic message. I'm trying to think. Man, there's like it's hard. There's so many good games on the Switch, especially when it comes to JRPGs. I do recommend the Persona series. You can play all of the Persona games on the Switch. Well, I mean, 3, 4, and 5. You can play those on the Switch. You can play all of the original Final Fantasies on the Switch, except for 13 and 15 and 16 and 14 and 11. In case you need some levels after beating those missions, there's probably a very fitting affinity mission. Really? Yeah, I probably am gonna need some levels too, because I forgot that it was also level 38 and I am 36. So not too far. Wait, hold on. Ours Past Traveler? Yes. That's another good one. Manhunt and Prospective Partners. Manhunt, Prospective Partners. Manhunt. Wait, what does it say? Found in Blade Tower in the Administrative District. Blade Barracks. Oh, Prospective Partners is here. It's right here. It's behind me. Okay. We shall do this one because it's right here. You're snacking, no worries.
Well, it isn't every day the Director General stops by for a visit.
I'm a busy man, I fear. But something's come up that I'd like your team to handle.
Stuffy Suit came to the right place. Make request
Stuffy
and Tatsu will
Suit.
see what he can do.
Right. Yeah, well, I'd like to propose we enhance our surveillance of the ganglion.
Is there something you're expecting to find?
Oh, excuse
We've
me.
had a string of unusual reports lately. There have been rumors that the ganglion are fighting amongst themselves.
Power struggles? With all those species working together, I imagine they've no shortage of infighting.
Which is precisely what we want to exploit. Hence the need for intel. And why I'd like you to focus on expanding Frontier Nav for now.
All right. We'll take it on as a formal request from you.
Okay. Chasan has decided to further expand his investigation. Crap. Thank you. Why do I have a halo? Because I'm an angel. I've never done a bad thing in my life. There's also my personal agenda, Bat and Kaitos. I need to play that. I need to play that bad. So true. Did Discord die for anyone? Ooh. I sent you a message, Kraz, and it's not going through, so maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. Lori panicking inside but visible laughing. That's Lori's brand. Actually, yes. I am a nervous laugher. I mean, like, not always. Like, obviously, when I laugh, it doesn't mean that I'm always nervous. But definitely, when I'm nervous, there are times where I laugh to make myself feel better. I forget. There's, like, some kind of, like, science behind that, but I forget what it was. Wait, what?
Fascinating.
Find something useful?
All intelligence is useful, Colonel. It's just a matter of finding the best lens to view it through.
Wow. That's deep, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, you fought against a Rothian squadron before, yes?
Yes.
Rothian? Tatsu
My
hear
cat
that
friends,
name
yes.
someplace before.
Recall that those were the lion-esque people. Describe them as proud and fierce people. Claim they're a bunch of conniving furballs. Stop it.
That describes Tatsu perfectly. Is friends sure they're not thinking of Tatsu? When did we fight folks like Tatsu?
Help. Tatsu.
Come on, we fought them in Sylvalum, remember?
Oh, right! Tatsu remember now. Kitty cat people, right?
Kitty cat people.
We've analyzed Frontier Nav records for evidence of ganglion infighting. Every instance has involved Rothians fighting against one race or another. This is more than just a few simple disagreements. We believe they've broken ties with the ganglion entirely, and on less than amicable terms.
Suggest forming an alliance. Claim that this is your chance to... Why would that even be an option? No!
If they really have left the ganglion, that might be a possibility.
I cannot. Some of these
The motives
options,
simply seem
man.
different enough. If their values align with ours.
As we often said on Earth, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I expect an alliance with the Rothians would prove beneficial for both of us.
Agreed. Even beyond the practical merits.
I just realized,
makes
are we
sense
going to
for us
have one
try
of them
and make
as our
many friends as
companions?
possible.
Y'all, I will literally freak the fuck
Which
out.
brings me to your next mission. I need you to travel to the site of the
I'm
latest
such a fan.
clash
I'm such a
gathered
fan of the
data.
Rothians. Like, it's not even funny.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm excited now. Holy shit. Zamped. What are those unhinged dialogue? I don't know. Edgy Gormati. I love the Gormati too. What about when you're about to cry? I think sometimes, yeah, there are times where I definitely will start laughing if I'm about to cry. Oh my god! It's so girly pop! I'm obsessed! Gormati or chill Rothians. I need to rewatch the VOD because I didn't see the unhinged dialogue option. Oh my god, Aiden. It was like the option was to wipe out the Rothians. It's like, what in the genocide? Hello? The world is my oyster now. Yay! You often laugh when nervous. Yeah, I don't know if like, I don't know. I definitely do this thing where when I'm a little anxious or nervous or something, then I'll start laughing. But like there's a difference between that and like my normal laugh.
That's right. We've located a Rothian scout.
Bose would give it right. Bose would be like, let's do it.
No pilot in sight.
Fucking Bose.
It's unclear if they abandoned the Skell or were killed.
What about the data unit?
Intact, as far as I can see.
Excellent. Please bring it back with you. Also, a sample of the plating and any weaponry you can manage.
We'll do what we can. Ready for a little manual labor?
Are you kidding? I can't wait to get this stuff home to analyze it.
Warn that Chausten might have his own motives. Ask Elma if she knows more. Ask Elma if she knows more than she's saying?
What do you mean?
I suppose an explanation's in order.
Huh? About what?
About this mission. Or about his intentions, at least.
You mean the Director General?
Right.
Uh-oh. Is he up to something?
Well, no point in hiding it, I suppose. I can't be certain, but if I had to venture a guess, I'd assume this is all just insurance in case an alliance falls through.
You mean we're gathering this data to make fighting the Rothians easier?
Oh, I'm sure diplomatic talks will come first. And even if we can't secure a friendship, that doesn't mean we have to fight. But it's always good to prepare for the worst possible scenario. Especially if you're the man responsible for the safety of all of New LA.
Well, I hope the Alliance can work out.
As do I, Lynn. For now, let's get back to work.
Well, interesting. Oh my god! Okay. Something spawned right on top of me. That was scary. Okay. Wait, there's one right here. I'm just there like, wait, are you serious? Right. Alright, one more. Man, yeah, this is gonna make exploring stuff so much easier. Alright, do I want to fly back? Absolutely. I absolutely want to fly back. Question, if you give everybody, because I thought they all had skulls. If you give everyone a skull, will they fly with you or no? Holy shit, holy shit. I'm doing the wrong things. They will flew with you? I'm just kidding. Fly. Okay, that's cool. Not the flu. Can I get that without making that thing mad? Yeah, I guess I need to go back and reassign their skills. Hope you got your flu shots. I need to get mine. Although I think flu season technically ends at the end of April. But still better safe than sorry. Flu is nasty this year. Alright, we're gonna fly back. Does anyone even fast travel anymore? I mean, I assume yes, but like, really, like, how long does it take you to fast travel again after you get your flying skull? Because, like, I don't want to fast travel anymore. Got my flu shot and COVID booster in the same day, different arms. Oh no. See, I was gonna do that, Maury. I was gonna get my booster and my flu shot at the same time, but not a good idea. But the fuel, oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that, like, I need to buy fuel. So when you have to refuel, does it cost credits or is it Moranium? Who needs fast travel when you can fly like Barbie? Exactly, exactly. It costs Moranium. Okay, cool. I love this. I don't have to... No hands! I love it. It's so cool. It regenerates passively when you're out of your skull, but it's like 2 seconds per unit of fuel. Oh, interesting. Welcome back, Jesse. How was your food? What did you eat? The Survive, isn't it so good? Like, I freaked out when I heard the song. It's so pretty. Wait, why did it stop? Why did it stop? Oh, there it goes. Sarguchi. Sargarchi. Wait, the weather causes fuel to regenerate while you're... What? That's cool. You're back on the arch? Wait, what? Ah, shit. Oh, actually, hold on. I know y'all were mentioning that you could change your... Stop. Okay. You could change your music? Where is that? Would it be sound? Arrange lyrics, arrange no lyrics. I want the lyrics. Oh, original. Damn, I can't turn it up anymore. like this one too. I like this one too. Now we have to fly again. Oh my god. This place looks familiar to the cover art. Maybe? I don't know. Welcome back, Celigio. Are you still doing the quest? We're doing the Affinity quest now for to do chapter 10. Lori's auditorium. Yeah, like they're both really good. But I think I like this one a little tiny bit better. Yeah. And this was the original for the Wii U. So good! This song is so good! I need them to release the OST so bad. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't know how much money I will pay. I paid for the Xenoblade 1 vinyl. Like, I will pay money. I got money, Nintendo. I have flown over Noctilum, yeah. I flew everywhere when I first got flight. I'm doing it again, actually. I need to go turn in my quest, but I'm doing it again. While you're flying to Cauldre, stepped away from my phone to use the restroom and then spent half an hour guessing where you were, what you were seeing based on what you were saying while I was dealing with the worst nosebleed. Oh no, Stuart, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope that you're doing okay now. I used to get a lot of nosebleeds when I was younger. Like it was weather related for me. But I was really prone to them when I was a kid. They're the worst. Hey Mantra, welcome in. Top 3 song of the game. It's so good. Oh my god. See, Sylvalum Night was my favorite in the OST, but I think this one might be my favorite now. Sylvalum Night is still really good, but like this one is wow. Wowzers. Wowzers, I love it. Big fan. Xenoblade Flight Simulator 2025 quest optional. It's true. You have the Trinity processor. Oh, see, I wish that I got that, but I actually skipped on that one because at the time I didn't have a CD player. So I was like, I don't want to get it because I don't know if I'll ever use it. And then one of my friends gifted me a CD player for Christmas, and I'm like, fuck. I should have gotten it. Because that OST box is so cool. Feeling a little lightheaded. Oh, yeah, maybe rest. What I had to do when I was younger was that I just like lied down with like a cold washcloth on my head. And that helped a lot. Like just, you know, lying back and like letting things settle. This little area looks like the cover art, neato. Oh, like New LA? Damn, this game is so cool. Like, what the actual fuck, man? Looks like flying is maybe one of my absolute favorite details, like really showing us how tiny we're just
I
specks.
received your report. Good work collecting those samples.
We are just specks.
I'm just sorry we weren't able to get more.
We'll take what we can get. You have my thanks.
They're an exceptionally proud people. If we can forge an alliance,
Be nice
I'm
to
certain
them.
we'll be friends we can trust.
I'll remember that. And should the day come, I'd like you to serve as ambassador.
My pleasure.
When they are
As long as
happy,
you don't
they go
send me there to declare
roar.
war.
XD.
Perish the thought. The fewer enemies we have, the easier my job is.
Oh, that was a pretty quick one. I like that. The only time I can play them is in my car, which makes road trips more fun at least. Oh, that's good, yeah. I mean, you can actually get a CD player now, like off of like Amazon or something, for a pretty decent price. The one that I have has built-in speakers, so like sound isn't that great, but I do have like a speaker that I use for my my record player that I just go back and forth between the two. But yeah, the built-in speakers for a lot of the smaller CD players are like not very good. Is Xenoblade DE's OST ever gonna get released? There's only like 8 to 10 new tracks because most of the music in X was already perfect. Wait, the first Xenoblade? I'm trying to think. Did they ever release the first Xenoblade OST? Because I know they did 3. Like, you can buy 3's OST on, like, iTunes or something. I don't know. I don't remember 2. Wait, where am I going? I'm supposed to be accepting the other thing. Shit. What was it called? I don't know. I gotta go back. I wanted to fly again, apparently. What was I gonna say? I know Xenoblade Definitive Edition. That one, when they released the limited edition, or like the limited, what do you call it? The collector's editions. Europe got a special box that had a vinyl in it. And those are very expensive nowadays. Because I don't think they made very many of them. But I don't know if they ever released, did they ever release like a soundtrack? Yeah, they released Xenoblade Chronicles 1's OST a couple years after the 10th edition came out. I was just asking chat if they thought Xenoblade X's new OST would ever get released. Oh, that's actually a good question. Yeah, maybe. In more dynamic duo, I'll wait. Mika Kobayashi and Hiroyuki Sawano, honestly. Okay, so we did Prospective Partners. We need to do Manhunt. It is in the Blade Tower in the Administrative Districts. Okay. Administrative Districts. It's right here. Okay. I'm supposed to do groceries, but I'll stick around for the next quest. Oh, man. I'm not sure if you mentioned yet, but if you've seen Kill la Kill, it's the same. Oh, yes, I have seen Kill la Kill, and I love Kill la Kill. Amazing. Yeah, honestly, if Discord just posted on Blue Sky, why it down. Whenever I find out that Hiroyuki Sawano is composing for like an anime, I add it to my list. I'm actually watching, what's it called? To Be Hero, which is airing this season for the spring season of anime. I think it's called that, right? To Be Hero. Wait, To Be Hero X. Yeah, I'm actually watching that this season because Hiroyuki Sawano is the composer. So like that's the only reason why I'm watching. It's actually pretty good so far. There's only 1 episode airing. So like the first episode was pretty interesting. But like that's literally the only reason why I'm watching. Because I found out he was composing for the anime. Mika Kobayashi, excuse me, performed the Kill la Kill and Attack on Titan theme songs in an anime. Oh, that's so cool. What? Yeah, I'm seeing the Attack on Titan, what do you call it? The orchestra, Attack on Titan orchestra. Again, because Hiroyuki Sawano. But And I liked Attack on Titan, but really, Harry of Wano. All right, accept.
Ah, look who's here. Perfect timing. Turns out I've got a mission that's right up your alley.
In other words, something dangerous?
See? You're perfect for it. Now then, remember the night the Ganglion hit us? Your team took on a pair of Xenos. Real bad apples. A big old lug and one nasty little lady.
Dagon and Reese, I think it was.
There's no forgetting those two.
Yep, that's them. We just got word they've been spotted skulking around
The
Knoxville.
cunty alien.
Could they be planning another attack?
That or who knows what. Whatever they're up to, I can tell you, it ain't gonna be good for us.
Muscle Man not worry, his mustache hair is gray. Team Tatsu is on the case.
Right. Those two are no pushovers. We fought them once and we beat them once. We're the best choice.
I love
to
that
take
no
this
pawns
on.
are like low-key, like disrespectful.
We'll leave immediately.
Thanks, girl.
And they just don't give a fuck. I love it. They're so funny. Wano is pretty much the only reason I still watch Blue Exorcist, but at least it gave me solo leveling each Saturday, double Sawano for like 12 weeks. Man, I think I watched the first season of Blue Exorcist, but I don't know if I ever continued it. Like, I don't know. Like, how many seasons are there for Blue Exorcist? Like, I know I watched... Well, did I watch the first season? No, I don't remember, actually. But I didn't know that he did Blue Exorcist as well, or composed for it. Xenoblade 2 had a 5 CD physical soundtrack and a limited edition with a 6 CD, which had all the jingles and piano arrangements. Yeah, I know they came out with the, wait, was that the Trinity processor box? What the hell is that noise? God, that was terrifying. That's before the train. Oh, okay, gotcha. I never got the Xenoblade 2 physical OST. I need to look into that. I must collect all of the Xenoblade stuff, or else I'll die. Not to be dramatic.
It's still smoking.
Bad guy's campfire.
The residual heat signatures confirm it. This fire was active until just recently.
It's strange. A campfire doesn't strike me as their style.
Suggest you take a look around. Warn the others that you heard something.
Good thinking. All right, let's give this place the standard perimeter sweep.
Elma, wait! Tatsu hears something!
Someone's coming. Everyone, hide!
You know what? I forgot to give everybody their skulls back. My bad.
Looks like we're too late. Damn it. Those two could be anywhere. Come on. That guy's the size of a mech. There can't be that many places for him to hide. Whatever. We'd better report to the captain.
Soldier's definitely ganglion.
Elma, did you hear that? Guys the size of a mech.
And they're looking for a pair.
But why would Dagon and Reese... I mean, they're ganglion too, right?
Maybe they deserted after bitter defeat courtesy of Tatsu.
Courtesy of who? Still, it does sound like they're after our targets.
Everything we've heard seems to point that way.
Maybe we should shake those two down for intel. See what they know.
What do you think?
Go with Lynn's plan and shake them down for intel. Keep searching inside.
All right.
I want to
We should be able to handle a couple of grunts easily
Yeah.
enough. Let's see what we can find out.
I want to pick a fight. Wait, can I not use my skull to pick a fight? Why is it over there? Okay, but why is he so loud? Can you not?
Fire! Don't miss! I'll pick the ball! Now! We can lay on the hurt! Special delivery! Right! Hurt! Flash only! Now we can! Backslash!
Yes, ma'am. Yes, murderous. Right away, murderous.
Fire! Don't miss! Fire! I'll come! Hold still! Shooting star! Dodge this!
I tapped back in because I heard the very loud stuff. Great.
Special delivery! Fire!
It's no use.
Now then, who are you chasing and why?
We'll never talk, human scum.
I don't think you understand. This isn't a request.
Target sighted. All units rally at point 49.
You hear that?
Let's move.
What should we do about these two?
Knock them out and leave them.
Knock them out and leave them. I love Elma. I haven't said it today yet, so I need my I need to announce how much I love Elma every day. Oh, is this on the inside? Oh, I can't fly here.
It's not our pair after all.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, but who are they?
Humans? What are they doing here? Who cares? Wipe them out.
Uh-oh. Looks like we have no choice.
Don't mind if I do.
Must you be so belligerent? Change things up! Use the buff! Special delivery!
Oh my god. Seeing them all like get thrown back like that was really funny.
Take this! Backslash! Tougher than they look. Special delivery! Special delivery! Shooting star! Too easy. Even on the next one. Hold still!
Oh my god. I love this. Special delivery! Alright, this is just overkill. Okay, who are these people?
I'm sorry if we frightened you. My name is Elma. And you are? Are we correct in assuming that the Ganglion are after you? If so, we might be able to help. We come from a planet called Earth, but now we're fighting the Ganglion here on Mira.
Really? Pay them no heed, Rock.
Rock?
But Celica! They just beat
Celica?
up those bad guys! It matters not. I shall not be fooled again.
Well, either way, it's not safe here.
Express concern for the two of them. Demand to know their both. Damn. Okay.
Don't flatter us with your hollow kindness.
Listen, I understand that it may be hard for you to trust a random pack of strangers. But we really do want to help if we can. I hope you can believe us.
Come on, Celica. They seem all right, don't they?
Perhaps, but
This song is really pretty
Tatsu,
too.
pleased to make acquaintance of new friend Celica.
and you are a Nopon?
Indeed. Friends saved Tatsu from nasty ganglion. Just like they saved us. Yes, so if Tatsu is trusting friends, Celica can too. Nopon's honor.
Well, you might say that we're fugitives of a sort. Ones that are running low on hiding places.
Our city, New LA, is home to many races besides humans. Both of you would be welcome there. There's no pressure, of course. You can stay or leave as you see fit.
Thank you, that is most kind. My name is Celica.
And I'm Rock. Nice to meet ya.
Escape together?
I'm Lynn. Here, these are the coordinates for New LA. Can you get there okay?
I believe the two of us can manage, yes.
Then we'll see you back home. Take care, you two.
It was kind of hard to see her, but they were both very cute. Twins! Rock is great. Posh alien waifu? Excuse me? British pronunciation of Nopon. You're a Nopon. Okay, I didn't know that you can install probes in your skull. Did she have elf ears? Oh no. You didn't know that either? That's so funny. Well, good to know. Xenoblade. The Xenoblade. Okay, stop. Stop. Not elf ears exactly. Do they look like elf ears? Are they pointy? That's all that matters to me, honestly. If they're pointy, that's all I want. I do have Neil. Yes, I love Neil. I'm a big fan of Neil. Here we go again. I just, like, I should fast travel, but... Celica's of the same race? Okay. She's so cute! My goodness. And the music is so good. I'm glad that I switched it to the original, because I mean I like the other one, the other version, but like I like this one a lot. This one's really good. I don't have Kate's ass shaking emoji, but I visualize it. Let me here, I'll use it. Neil was cut character in the Wii U version, so Celica had barely any content. Now they fleshed that out a bit in the D. Oh, I love that! Yeah, I know that, whatchamacallit, that someone told me that when I first unlocked Neil, that she was, like, in the art book, but they didn't have, like, I guess, enough space to include her in the game, which I think is really funny. Did you watch the live version of this? No, I haven't watched it yet, but I'll watch it after stream. very excited. I was wondering why I couldn't remember Neil, and I figured it was just me forgetting her. No, somebody explained that they just didn't have enough room to put her in the game. So even though she was in the art book and stuff, she wasn't in the game in the original, which is hilarious. They're like, actually, never mind, but it's too late. We already produced the the books, or the art book. Oh my god! Oh, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous.
Hey, over here!
How do you like the city so far?
It's rather overwhelming.
Oh my god,
to
the
be
gasp
honest.
that I gasped.
But Rock seems quite content, so we'd like to stay if that's permissible.
Of course. And whatever you need, just let us know, okay?
Anytime Celica have a problem, Team Tatsu have the solution.
You have our gratitude.
Wow. Okay, I love her design. I love her design. Holy shit. Get me out of the skull. Get me out of the skull. Fuck. Wait, I'm assuming this is them?
Hey, did you hear?
Thank you.
So grateful all the Blade has done, including furnishing me with a splendid home. I'm not worthy of such largesse. I'm still searching for a purpose that I might serve in this fair city. But I pray that you will give me the opportunity to repay my debt to Blade. I would like for you to join my team, to be completely honest, but I guess not. Like, I guess we can't do it yet. Xenoblade X was originally supposed to be a normal Xenoblade title, like, till a year before release, when Nintendo told them we need an online game. So, like, half the original story and content was just cut. That sucks. Xenoblade X was already pushing the limits in terms of space on the Wii U. They had to have, like, 4 separate downloadable patches for the game to run properly. That's wild. She's so pretty. Right? The no-pot bottle. My queen. Oh, they just ran out of dev time. Okay. She had concept art and certain attack missions, and squad missions reference her name, but she didn't really make a physical appearance. That's wild. Have a great day, Statman. Thank you so much for hanging out. See you again soon. I'm gonna leave a like for chores. Just wanted to stick around for you to meet Celica. Have a good one, Maury. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I guess I can't do that one yet. And when it comes to the rest of the, let's see. Oh wait, I think the next, yeah, I need to be level 38, and I don't think that I got any levels when I was doing that, right? Yeah. So I think I'm gonna wait, hold on. I'm gonna do some of those missions that help with leveling and see what I can do. It's not a space problem, though. The Wii U had a Blu-ray disc drive. The Blu-rays of that period could hold 50 gigabytes of data, and the game only had like 23 gigabytes. Oh, interesting. So it was literally just dev-related then? The new skull on the block is a nice one. Wait, is that for support mission, right? And then I think this one is around level 30, and that gives you 2,700 experience. Yeah. Okay. I think I did. Didn't I do that? Did I do New Skull on the Block? I really can advise, if interested, to look at art book and translation. Like the story Takahashi originally wanted to tell is so big. Really? Maybe, I know that I do want to buy the, what do you call it? I can't even think. I want to buy the collector's edition eventually of Xenoblade X, like the original one. But I think some of them are pretty pricey. so
I can't move.
my Xenoblade and Xeno in general collection is pretty expensive.
Weaken it. Absorber skin. I like you.
Welcome to the squad, Krez.
Moving on the next.
Yeah, I do have the squad thingy open. If anybody wants to join, feel free. The EU collector is like 60 pounds most of the time. Wait, is that, what is that in US dollars? I don't even know.
I figured you'd win. I could have taken them on alone. Special delivery.
Xenoblade XD, it feels like a Xenoblade X. Because I really have to still build a game. I can see that. I can see that. I mean, so far, no spoilers. Do not say anything. Do not give me, like, y'all, I just have to say this, but nobody add on to it or anything. But from the people who have finished it, it seems like people have been really, really excited about the ending, or, like, just... Thankfully, again, I haven't gotten spoiled. But I'm excited to get there. I mean, at least the ending of the additional story. No, Aiden, I didn't get spoiled. No. It's just the people who have finished it have like, I don't know. I know Kraz messaged me when he finished it, and he was just like, wow, or something. I don't know. Like, it seems like people are really excited about it, so. Who do I beat up? Yeah, thankfully I've not gotten spoiled. Let's keep it that way, y'all. If anyone spoils this game for me, you're getting a permanent ban. You will not be coming back.
You're staying right here. Now, weaken them and lay on the hurt.
Hello. How's your day? Yay, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I'm doing some like leveling missions so I can get 38. Since I'm 36 right now, so
You're staying right here. Let's keep this going with a fight.
hi.
That's a part of you. Now show the rest of us some attention.
Not for Christmas. That's dramatic.
Shooting star! Shooting star! Delivery!
She's crashing out.
Not here!
She's crashing out.
Even when you're not hungry, you have to remember to eat, you know? You're staying right here.
You know,
Shooting star. Stellar Bay. Shooting star. And I was like, wow. Stellar Bay.
oh, don't spoil it for me. Okay, that's enough. Don't spoil. It is. You spoiled it for me. It's over. You want to be grounded?
Delivery! Furious blast! This!
Now she's threatening me. Hope just died, Mallory. Out. Out. Get out of here. Hope is dead. Hope is dead. Was she trying to spell? I don't know. She was crashing out about something. The Wii U US JP Collectors is having a malware DRM. Oh, I heard that. I heard about that too, that the thumb drive like did not work. It's wild. X2 had ideas of movies, but I don't want to go into details like Ruin Revelations. Oh, yeah. If anybody wants to talk about what is going on? Hello? I was just gonna mention if anybody wanted to talk about Xenoblade X or any Xenoblade game, feel free to join the Discord. We do have a Xenoblade channel, and a lot of people are like sharing their thoughts. But make sure, why did Riku? Why did Riku do it twice? But anyway, just make sure you use spoiler tags when you do start talking about stuff. Am I doing the green normal missions? I am, yes. I've already killed a bunch of people on accident. I know everyone's dead! I don't understand how it's happening! I mean, well, maybe it's because I forgot to give them scouts again. So I'm sure that's not helping. Too many tough enemies for this one. At the end, Bose shows up and says we use our power to slay a Xenos and then gets cut in half by Noah and Lucky 7. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Fuck you, Bose.
You're staying right here.
Fucking shaking my ass to this song every time it comes on. I can recommend a mission to spam if you want to level quickly. Which one? Almost feel like on par with the side stories of the Like a Dragon games. I haven't played any Yakuza games. I want to play them so bad. Like, it's not even funny.
I'll use this strength to keep everyone safe.
All right, I got 37. I just need one more. I can join you if you want to spam it quickly. Which one is it? Which one are we doing? Is it, wait, do these... That gives you... Damn, that one's 4,000. I'm obsessed with Yakuza, Like a Dragon, and Infinite Wealth. I need to play them. Oh, the grand plot? I think I've... It's this one, right? Yeah. Krez, do you want to do... I don't know if it's going to be the same. You could probably... I feel like Krez is probably going to be able to kill stuff because he's like all-powerful in this game. Just the newer turn-based ones. Level 80! Okay. Can we just do it by ourselves? I feel like I'm gonna die. I started my first Yakuza game was 0 recently. You're loving it so far? That's so exciting. Whoa, your scale is big! Wait, so is... Wait, no, yours... Yeah, yours is taller, I think.
Stay on them! No messing around!
Attack range! I know! Take this!
Stay on them!
Right!
Have some more!
Delivery!
What's the next
We won't
one?
get a moment's rest! Take this!
Wait, is that the name of your skull, Krez? Did you name it that, or is that just how it comes?
EM Zenith cannon! Link up!
Krez got drones? Is that really good?
So long! Who wants the next one?
Too easy.
Do I look like a
Listen on the
down?
next one. Special to fire. Don't
Stay
fail.
on them!
Special delivery.
Fire!
I thought that said Poppy. We're killing Poppy.
Close the gap.
Oh, is the default? Okay. Got it.
Stay on them! No messing around!
Got this.
Oh, after you beat the story, you can get it?
Special delivery. Got this. Don't need. Now close the gap.
EM Zenith cannon!
Are you new IP2 Project Century? Is that another, like, Yakuza game, or... Yeah, the, what was I gonna say? The multiplayer for this game is, it's pretty fun. I do wish there was more that you could do. But a lot of it is just, like, doing, like, quests and stuff. Or, like, missions, rather. So, yeah, that was pretty quick. I'm down for doing that again. What's the final menace? Oh. Krez, can you do this? What happens when we kill it? That's the raid boss? It's a global boss? Okay. Work like old Monster Hunter online missions. Yeah, see, I was under the impression that we could, like, run around in the world, but... Number in the raid is how many health bars? Wait, what? The top right? Is it RP? I don't have the reflect augments yet, just solar. Okay. Never mind. Let's do the flying boulders again. It's a new title from Ryu Gotaku Studios. They previewed it from... Oh, did they? Dang, I can't remember. I just need one more level and then we can continue with this story, which we might not have time today, but what am I doing tomorrow? Tomorrow's supposed to be Final Fantasy Friday. I haven't done a Final Fantasy Friday in like 3 weeks because of Xenoblade.
Right. Stay on them. Special delivery. Hold still.
So long. Who wants the next
Whoa! I fell. Ah! Scary.
Take this.
Oh, I think we... Wait, did I join for that one? I don't remember. I think I instantly died.
Move.
That's it? Oh, wait, we're just supposed to attack the big thing? Oh, okay. That was really fast. Having to play Xenoblade to get... Oh, not get spoiled with the all. Yes, yeah. Yeah, so with the online icons, I think someone in the Xenoblade channel said that I just need to finish chapter 12, right? And then I can look at the icons?
Stronger.
That is wild. That is wild that they did that again. Damn. You gotta blow up his right leg. It took longer the first time since I blew up his left leg, which is my right. Oh, okay. You just kill one Papal and then you break the giant's leg. It's super quick. I love that. Remember when official Xenoblade Twitter spoiled memes on their post? No? Did they?
Stay on them.
They did? Oh my god. Why are they like this? Okay. Right leg? Wait, it doesn't say! Damn, okay, I hope I'm attacking the right one.
Not budge an inch.
So fast. They always wait 4 waves. Like, imagine they would just put that one in the first one. Yeah. Nintendo said we only care for the OG Wii U fans. But they did it with Xenoblade 3, too. It's just like, why did y'all do that? Like, at least by then, I had finished the game. But, damn, for anyone that hasn't finished the game...
To keep everyone safe.
Rude as hell. Okay, we did it. Thank you, Kraz. That was really fast. I love that. To be fair, the spoiler was only a spoiler because people said it was a spoiler. Are you talking about the icon that released today? Or not today. Was it this week? Or are you talking about the Xenoblade 3 ones? Because the Xenoblade 3 ones are definitely spoilers. Oh, the Mims spoiler. Yeah, I guess it's like one of those cases of if you know, you know, but at the same time, like it would still be like, what does that even mean? You know, like, I don't know. That's what I warned about in the Xenoblade channel. I told everyone mute or stay away from the Nintendo socials if you're new to the game. Yeah. No fall damage because of Mims. Oh, well, see, if they said that, then that would make you, I don't know, at least for me, my brain would be like, oh, are we not humans? And I feel like that's a pretty big reveal because I thought we were humans the entire time. You just saw the new wave of icons. Nintendo was rude. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen them, but if it's anything like the Xenoblade 3 ones where they released the 4th wave, like that, it is really rude. It's like, what the fuck? We'll accept it. Let me update my title because we're on chapter 10 now.
What should I whip up today? That is a great idea.
Lindley, what is Lindley making?
Beef braised in wine. Hey, Tatsu.
Ooh, that's a big
Why
pot.
don't you relax and take a bath before dinner?
Stop.
Gotten all ready
Here she
for you.
goes.
Tatsu love nice and hot bath before eating. Did Lindley use bath salts? Color and smell is lovely, just
Oh
like
my god.
Lindley, this is not bathtub. This is pot of boiling wine.
Little Spud's smarter than he looks.
Oh my
I
god.
suppose I'm just gonna have to use regular old beef instead.
Lindley is not funny. Lindley is not funny.
Every time, like, we can't ever. It reminds me of like
Okay,
my
everyone,
dinner
let's
times
eat.
at home. It's just chaos every time. Never a normal dinner time.
Man, oh man, Lynn. Somehow you manage to outdo yourself every time.
It's all about the ingredients. Right, Tatsu?
Oh, Tatsu. No, Kupo, I'm the same
Right.
way. Like, I would
Let's
start
get started.
overthinking about it.
Well, before that, I need to clear something up.
Commander?
I know you're wondering. After the bogus Lifehold lead, we had the Pathfinders turned inside out. Sure enough, we found evidence that someone messed with Frontier Nav. They planted that phony data.
You mean...
We got a spy.
Oh
That's
boy.
right. One of our own is working with the Ganglion.
I don't think it's Lao, right? Like, but at the same time.
One question, Commander.
Like we don't have enough to worry about. And here I am, sending you all
I don't know.
out
At the
right
same
into
time, I
that
guess
death trap. Damn it.
I could probably see it with Lao. Like, I feel like maybe he thinks that we're not
I
supposed
don't
to be
know what else
around
to say,
anyway.
Except, I'm sorry. I hope you'll forgive me.
Tatsu like Muscle Man better when he angry and yelling.
Zip it, Pipsqueak, or you'll be seasoned and fried by
Pipsqueak.
breakfast.
Pipsqueak mention.
Tatsu has a point, though. It's not like you to dwell on mistakes, Commander. Especially when they weren't your mistakes to begin with. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolve the commander of any guilt. Tell Emma a simple apology isn't enough.
Well, but...
No buts about it, sir. And no more apologies, okay? We survived, after all. Now let's see that surly taskmaster we all know and love.
That's right. Your orders, Commander?
Well, put it that way. Who am I to argue? All right. Touchy-feely time is over. I've got your next assignment. We need you to head out and fix a key data probe that's on the fritz. It's way out in northern Silvalum. We'll get you the coordinates.
Yay, we get to go back to Silvalum!
Yes, sir. With pleasure. Repair missions are my specialty.
That's why we picked you. That and... the Ganglion have been quiet lately. Too quiet. I don't like it.
Yeah, I've been thinking the same thing.
In your report, the Rothian, was it? He made it sound like they've got a base tucked away. Someplace with black rocks and lava. That's gotta be Cauldros, yeah?
I think it's a safe assumption, yes.
Well, anyway, as you might have guessed, the idea of a big old Ganglion base here on Mira does not exactly thrill me.
Agreed.
And with Lao sidelined, we're gonna have to pick up the slack.
Yep, so let's
Dang,
get
this song
that
is really
probe
good.
fixed, all right?
Okay, repair the data probe. Got it. Got it. I stand by my canceled wife. Wow. The food definitely got an upgrade in this. Yes, they really do beat this choke into the earth. They do.
Really getting down to the wire here. Where in the hell is that?
Ooh, we're down to 9%. That's not good. Things aren't looking very good. Yeah, I'm gonna double check my skulls for my party members. make sure that everybody has one this time, so we're not fighting for our lives. Oh, it's Riz.
Yes. Aren't you the most beautiful thing ever? We are gonna have so much fun together.
I love this VA. Like, her VA is really good. Just the way that she's portraying this character that just seems very unhinged. But also, I feel like there's other things going on with her. Like, I'm sensing trauma.
What do you think, Dagon? Shall we pay another visit to our human friends?
Oh boy. Oh no, this guy.
Grandmaster Luxar. Grandmaster, sir.
I heard you the first time, imbecile! Lower your voice in my presence.
It's the recently completed Zoofark, sir. Reese made off with it.
What did you say? Why would she do that? Why does everyone in this confounded organization think they can do whatever
Honestly,
they
everything's
please?
going to shit for him. As it should. Okay, let me... They're really treating the Lifehold like I do my iPhone. Okay. Let's do this really quick. Everybody, wait. Okay. No. I'm so confused because they all had their skulls. This is weird. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe they all have to have their skulls for it to work? Oh, wait. I think okay. My party member is they're different. Yeah, you know what? Okay. Ignore me. I forgot. All right, we have Hope, Murderous, and who the fuck is that? Is it Irina? Did I not give her anything else to wear? I didn't even notice that she was wearing that. My bad. Okay, Irina. We're gonna give Murderous. Wait, yeah, we'll give Murderous Layla. And then I guess I'll give Hope this one. Register. Don't leave the keys in the skull. Luxar. I love it. All right, everybody has their skull now. We're gonna save, because we're gonna stop for today, y'all, because it is after 5. But this was great. We made some really good progress today. I love it. We did a really good job today. We're on chapter 10 now, which is really exciting. Yeah, we made some pretty good progress today. I'm kind of proud of myself. Tomorrow it's gonna be vibes again. We're gonna go with the vibes tomorrow. So it's either gonna be Xenoblade X or it's gonna be Final Fantasy 14. For anyone that doesn't know about Final Fantasy 14, I am playing the story, replaying the story. In my opinion, I'm saying for the first time because I haven't played. It's cutscene skipper back in the day. So yeah, we're doing that. Tonight is anime night. Just a quick reminder for everyone who does attend anime nights. Tonight is anime night. We're starting at 8:30 p.m. We are wrapping up Girls Band Cry. So we're finishing the last 3 episodes of Girls Band Cry, and then next week we'll start a new show, which is it's gonna be really fun. I know. When I first started playing Final Fantasy XIV, I skipped cutscenes. This was like 11 years ago.